Yep.
All right, we're up. And anything that you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. Do you see, if you move the mouse around, do you see where the mute button is?
Yes.
Okay, so that way you don't do anything to incriminate yourself. This is kind of like my waiver, you know. But you're a cool dude, Max. I'm here with Max Gocala.
Yep. That's me.
And this is the first time I've had the pleasure of officially meeting Max. He's good friends. We have a mutual friend at the school that we go to, Youngstown State. And you're a cool dude, man, because
Thank you.
um, I never had a chance to talk to you, but I always see you around campus, and I see you on the internet, always doing campaigns and whatnot. Can you kind of like elaborate on some of the campaigns? Well, let's back up.
Okay.
Let's start from the beginning. Okay, we'll do it like the Bible. In the beginning, Max, you graduated from, and I did some research, and when I mean research, some people would call it stalking. I would call it stalking. Uh, I saw that you graduated from Canfield, right?
Yes, sir. In 2011.
Oh, okay, great. So you went to Canfield,
Yep.
and then when you graduated Canfield, did you immediately go to YSU, or what was like the thought process behind going to college?
I always knew I was going to go to college. I just didn't know what for. Long story short, I just wanted to help people. So I knew I had to go into something that I could help people on a daily basis and get satisfaction from them, which would give me satisfaction by helping and so forth. It was like a big cycle I wanted. And I honestly didn't want to go to YSU when I first started. I swam in high school, so Westminster was where I wanted to go. Yeah, had a nice scholarship for like swimming, academics, and so forth. So it was all set in stone and everything. I was accepted. Went to this nice weekend for accepted students and actually spent the weekend with the swim team. And to be honest, I hated every minute of it.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, I'm not a big partier, and they were partiers, like hardcore partiers. So I was like, I can't do this. So I actually called my parents and had them pick me up early. Then I spent my gift card in the bookstore and I decided on YSU. So I came in with this notion that it was going to be boring, it was going to be the high school all over again, because I grew up with YSU, so I didn't want to go there because it was boring. But I was proven wrong on so many levels.
Wow, man, that's an incredible story. I mean, so you were an athlete, you still are, but I mean, come from freshman to senior year in high school, your goal was go to college and swim, right?
Right.
And I I am from the Youngstown area. I went to Youngstown Christian, and I lived in Youngstown my whole life, and I know that mentality of like YSU is kind of like the last resort,
Right.
and like a lot of people in high school looked at it as like,
Like it was lesser and you shouldn't go
yes,
there and all of
yes,
that.
yes, and same here with me. When I was in school, when I was a freshman, I was set on going to play basketball in college. That's all I wanted to do, and it just didn't work out that way. And I was thus sent to YSU, and I didn't realize, and this is really unfortunate, I didn't realize how beautiful the campus was and what YSU had to offer
Right.
until day one.
hmm
How like I mean it's sad, how could I have lived there my whole life and didn't know what they had to offer?
Because I think when you're in high school, you don't really focus on everything that they can offer. You just see what you want to see, and then your mind's made up. Oh, I don't want to go here, so you don't acknowledge, like you said, the beauty that's on campus and everything, program, academic organizations that it does have to offer to us as students.
So when you went to YSU, what was because I know you went into it originally not expecting much, not high expectations. What was the moment or the thing that stuck out to you that said, "Wow, this is a good school"?
I'm gonna have to say it was a whole new experience. Canfield High School, although it was a great place, was just it was a limiting space, if you will. You couldn't do a lot of things because it was just like frowned upon, and it was just you always had to try and be better than someone to get places, and I
Uh-huh.
didn't like that. I
Yeah.
just don't like the competition aspect. So YSU, I went to YSU with some of my friends. So like first day we met up with each other, and it was so much more enjoyable because we could be the quirky, weird selves that we are, and nobody cared. It was just
Ah,
like,
yeah.
I like this. It was a good thing. And then all my classes, you could pull out your phone or your iPad and just do whatever you wanted because nobody cared. High school got like written up to no end if you did that, detentions galore. Not saying I had those, but like everybody just tried to crack a whip that wasn't there, and you were adults, but you still had limitations. And in college, you could finally be the adults that you knew you were.
Yeah, I was just thinking that over the summer, going back to school, I had a conversation with someone that I knew back in high school, and they were just going into their senior year of high school. And I'm
Hmm.
thinking, I can't imagine going back to that format of schooling. Like, you have to be in this building from 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock or whatever.
Right.
I just can't imagine it.
It's just so limiting to like creativity and who you are as an individual. Like you said, if you're in the same building all day, you're going to be bored, you're just going to be tired, and it's just not enjoyable.
Wow, and interestingly enough, creativity is such a huge thing,
Right.
and you made a great point that it's really limited. I feel like with the way the school's set up now.
Hmm. I agree, and not to be all political on you, but people who are trying to like cut the arts and stuff, you just, yeah, you need science and math and English to function, sure, but you also need the creative side that arts and band and music and education of that sense brings to your daily life because it just allows for so much human growth and exploration. Like if you don't have that, you're just living day to day bored as heck.
Yes, yes, I agree, man. That you stated it perfectly. So for your major, when I was doing my stalking online, I couldn't find what your major was. What are you majoring in?
Well, when I started YSU, since we're going from Once Upon a Time, um, I started off as bio pre-med because I thought medicine was the way I could give back to people and help them feel better, and in turn help myself feel better because I could put a smile on their face, a whole bit. But as I got into the classes and the major, I just dreaded going to school. I dreaded going to classes, and I couldn't understand it. So I used the money as a motivator to try and pull myself through it. And finally, I just woke up and said, if I'm going to use the money as a motivator, it's not the right career for me. So
Wow.
yeah. So I switched to psychology at the end of my sophomore year.
Wow, that's really interesting. Same here. I think like our train of thought, and especially people in
Right.
our generation, we grew up during the Great Recession, a recession that hasn't been seen in 90 years since the Great Depression.
Right.
And money was something that was very, very focal in our teachers.
Hmm.
I think in high school, and it's like I felt like I went into college thinking, oh, I got to get a good job, I got to do this, blah 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 blah. But how far is that going to get you?
Right.
If you're not passionate about it, that money is going to it's going to stagger at some point. It's going to stop. But when
Hmm.
you're passionate about something, I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Right. It's like that quote: "Find a job that you love, and you'll never work a day in your life."
Yes, that is. I mean, why? I mean, like, if you could find a job that you love, that hard that because to be successful, you need to have hard work,
Exactly.
and you're gonna work hard at something that you're passionate about. So, like, those two go hand in hand.
Hmm. And if you don't have one or the other, then you're not in the right field. When I was a
Wow.
when I was a peer mentor in the CSP on campus, the Center for Student Progress, people would just come in and be like, oh, I'm going to be an engineer, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to do this or that. And then you ask them why, and some people would say, oh, well, my parents are that, and I like the lifestyle we have, or, oh, I think it's a good fit, or, oh, I like the thought of making six figures a year. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to get so burnt out so quickly that it's just not even worth it. I mean, it's good that you're trying and all of that. I'm not knocking that, but I'm knocking the field that you're choosing because you're choosing it based off of a not guaranteed six figure salary.
Yes, yes. And now, for those of the listeners and the people that aren't watching, or that are watching that don't go to YSU, a peer mentor is someone who mentors the freshmen at YSU.
Right.
And Max, let me ask you, because that's really interesting. Your time as a peer mentor, what was like the most what was? Cause I know each student is different, and every situation is different. But tell me about some of the stuff that you saw, common issues amongst the freshman kids at YSU.
Well, just to generalize, you are correct when you say freshmen, but it was also all first year students.
Okay,
So it
got
could
it.
be um, transfer students, non-traditional students, so like older adults who
Yes,
may
got
have
it. Yeah.
just not finished their degree, and anyone else who is coming to YSU for their first year, but not necessarily their freshman year. So the biggest issue that I would come into with my students, which we can guesstimate at about 25 a week who had regular scheduled appointments, would be just not feeling like they fit into their classes or that they didn't have a niche that's on campus. So my job was to try and connect them to all the right places and people to say, okay, this is what we need to do to make you feel more at home, because when you have that sense of home and belonging, you're just more likely to prosper and complete your degree. So,
Wow. Yeah.
so we would look into like the over 185 student organizations at YSU, or career services, or any other service that is provided to YSU students with your cost of tuition.
Now let me ask you this, Max. Did you run into any first year students who um, weren't really necessarily fit for college? Because I don't think everyone's fit for college, and that doesn't mean that they're inferior or not as
Right.
intelligent. But I think that I feel like our education system, our general education system, just automatically puts everyone in there, and sometimes that doesn't need to be there. Did you see any of that in your peer mentor?
Um, Personally, no, but my coworkers did. We had students who would come in and, like you said, just weren't fit for college. Not saying that they weren't intelligent or whatnot, but they were skilled with other things that didn't require a college degree. They wanted to go and change everything about themselves to get a degree because, like you said, the educational system pushes it.
Uh-huh.
So, although Dr. Dunn has a bad rap about him, while he was here, I was also a peer mentor, and uh, him changing the status of YSU from open enrollment to open access allowed for a partnership with Eastern Gateway, which has a campus right downtown, and students who maybe didn't fit everything YSU was looking for could go to Eastern Gateway at a cheaper rate because it was about, say, $90 a credit instead of 305. So not only did they save money, but they could cost effectively say, this isn't where I'm supposed to be, and then pursue another option like a trade school or something that allowed them to be the best they could be. So people always give Dr. Dunn a bad rap, which to a sense, yes, he wasn't honorable in the way he left, but he did a lot of great things in the short time he was there. And especially that changing of YSU's policy allowed for so much growth of students coming and going from YSU.
Wow, that's huge, man. I didn't even know, I didn't know that he did that. I did hear that he did some good things, but one of what you just mentioned, I didn't know that. I'm glad that you brought that up.
Always learning something new.
Yes, exactly. And you brought up the trade schools.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's like I said, we grew up in a time where it was a Great Recession and whatnot, and I felt like the market of the people in the labor force. I feel like the market of people in the labor force with college degrees
Mhm.
has it's been flooded, and
Right.
there's been more people going after degrees and less people going after the trades.
Hmm.
So with that being said, just supply and demand, um, when coming up here shortly in the next 10 years, those people that have went to a trade school and have done apprenticeships and whatnot, they're going to be really really valuable because there's not going to be that many of them.
Exactly. They're just specialized in one thing, and to be quite honest, if you're going to pursue it at a trade school, you already have to be good at it. Not saying you can't learn something new, but for example, my cousin, he went to a trade school to get welding, electrician, and another certification, and he works for B&M Star now. Started off at the very bottom, worked his way up to like a shift leader. He's doing very well, and he didn't want to go to college. He knew it wasn't for him. He just knew he had to do something. So he did the trade school route. Nothing wrong with that by any means, but our society today just knocks it because people are like, oh, you're doing that, and it's almost like a frowned upon, I'm looking down upon you, wherein those people are just trying to better themselves. So I don't understand. There's so many things that our society isn't doing right today, but I'm only one person, so it just starts with me, and then
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah, that's a huge thing. I mean, um, it's just like in high school, I think it's a lazy approach
Right.
for the teachers and the administration just to say, hey, get good grades and go to college. That's lazy.
I agree.
I feel like they should sit down with students and really work out and say, hey, you're really good with handiwork. Maybe you
Mm,
should become a carpenter,
right.
and maybe they should start that in ninth grade instead of 9 years after they graduate. You know what I mean?
Exactly. There's just a lack of communication somewhere.
It's sad because I don't think it's efficient. It's not efficient to waste people's time like that because when you're in the ninth grade, you're 14, 15, 16 years old. You could get an apprenticeship and really get the ball rolling. You know,
Exactly. I don't
but
know.
but as for those people that do go to college and it's really beneficial for them, I'm working on a report or not a report. I have a speech to give on Tuesday, and I wanted to talk about the loans that are given to people, and basically the rate of tuition. How do you feel about that? I mean, I don't know if you do have loans or if you don't, but in general, are you aware that there is an issue with student loans?
Well, personally, I do have loans. I can understand it to a point, but my financial background isn't great. I just know I got to pay for college somehow, so that's what happens. But my understanding of the whole situation isn't probably where it needs to be by any means. I just know that by being a peer mentor, you got in touch with financial aid an awful lot because people would come through and say, okay, I need to pay for this or I got a bill for this, and what do you do? So the thing we tried to push a lot were all the scholarships YSU has to offer. I don't know if you know this, but our foundation is the top 10% in the country.
Wow, I didn't know that. No.
It's number 3 in the state. Ohio State, Cleveland State, and then us, I believe. But
Wow.
mhm. And it is fortunate enough to have over 500 scholarships that a lot of people just don't know about. So we would go through those with students and say, okay, Here's a scholarship that you can apply for, and apply for it until you're blue in the face. It doesn't hurt to apply. Yeah, it sucks to write out that essay and say, okay, I wasted 20 minutes, probably not going to get this, blah, 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 but you never know if you don't try. So we would work with students using YSU's website and so many other websites to try and offset how many loans you do have to take out, because I know it's stressful, and I understand that. And a lot of people are like, well, what if I don't get a job? What do I do? I have to pay all this money back.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest, I don't know how to answer it.
Wow. And you're a smart guy, so that concerns me. When smart people can't figure it out, it's
Yeah.
scary. But going back to that, not only are you a smart guy, you're a really active guy. I know, just before this podcast, you're exercising, you're working out, or whatever. You're on top of things.
I
Um,
try.
so I wanted to talk to you about the level of activity that you do at YMCA. Because I see you everywhere. I see, like, probably once a quarter, I have an invitation on Facebook to vote for you for something, or to go somewhere that you're at. So let me ask you, when did you start becoming so active in YSU, and how did you take steps to do that? Because a lot of people at YSU are commuters.
Mhm.
I'm a commuter. It's a huge commuter school, and
Right.
people really aren't involved down at the school like you are. So can you kind of talk about that, about being involved with YSU?
Well, I guess it started in high school. My senior year, I was in 14 organizations, and I vowed to myself and my parents that I was going to take a break in college and just try and go from there and see what happened. So my freshman year, fall semester, I only joined one thing. I went to the meetings and was like, okay, I have all this free time, what do I do? I got good grades, and I was like, I'm bored. I can't do this. I don't like to party like some other people, so I would just sit at home and twiddle my thumbs, or I'd watch movies with my friends, which isn't a bad thing at all. I love all my friends, but I was like, okay, I can only watch so many movies before I just feel not good, and then I have to go work out more, and it's just a whole big cycle. So I, spring semester of my freshman year, I joined two more, and one was an honor society, and the other two were just like academic biology related clubs. So I joined them, found some new people that I really liked, got to know them a little more. And then sophomore year, biology club had a whole restructuring thing. So one of my good friends was going to be president, and she asked me to help her rebuild it. So I was elected vice president, and then from there it just skyrocketed. Um,
Wow, it just snowballed, big snowball effect.
a big snowball. I currently am on the board of 8 organizations, and I'm involved in like 17.
What?
Yeah,
That is crazy.
it gets a little hectic, but
I, I knew you were an active guy. So wait, I'm sorry. 8 boards and 17 groups.
yep, on and off campus.
Wow. See, this is why I want to talk to people. I mean, because that's a huge important thing. The amount of people that are in your network and that you network with are going to give you so many opportunities.
I hope so. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to like connections or whatnot. People get too involved in that. Simply put, I just like to make friends. So it's all good, and I just like to talk, like you said at the beginning. I can talk to a wall, my mom says. So
Ah.
it all works.
Wow, dude, that's crazy. Um, you know, I don't know how you do it. 17 groups. Your email, your email accounts, plural, they must be going crazy all day. Your phone just must be vibrating all day.
Yes, pretty much. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, my morning class, we're not allowed to use our phones at all, and if I try and sneak, it's just blowing up. But like, it's so many points taken off if he catches you, blah blah blah. So I'll
Dang.
go to my next class, and the one day I had like 57 emails within an hour and 15 minutes.
Wow. That's incredible, man. So let me talk to you about some of your uh, perceptions suggestions for YSU. Um, I just Googled your name and I saw an article from the Jam Bar about your Student Government Association, the presidential debate that you and Paige had.
Okay.
And so anyone that is engaged in a presidential debate has to be highly opinionated or have opinions about YSU. Can you share some of those opinions?
Well, like I said, I came into YSU not wanting to be there. But now that it's my senior year, I can honestly admit I was proven wrong on so many levels. And the reason why I ran for student government is because I needed to know that things would change for the better. We have close to 11,000 students on campus, commuters and residents, and I felt, along with Paige, that student government needed to more accurately represent that student body than it currently did at that time. So that's why we ran for the two top positions of president and vice president. But the biggest thing that I wanted to see, and I still want to see on campus, is that everyone feels welcome. There's so many people who just walk around campus, and you can see it on Twitter and Facebook. They're like, "Oh, I hate YSU, blah blah blah." That shouldn't be there. You should feel welcomed, and this shouldn't be high school, whether you're a commuter or not. There's a point though where it's on yourself to say, um, okay, I need to make a change and I need to do better. But there's also a point where we can open up the doors to so many opportunities and say, now you're kind of left to make a change, or you're just stuck in your own ways and you're stubborn.
Yeah.
So the presidential debate got a little heated at times, but it was all good, and I have nothing bad to say about the two people who won. They're both good friends and both very, very nice. I'm involved with them in several organizations outside of student government, even though Paige and I didn't seek positions on their board alone, I guess.
Yeah, of course. Wow, dude, that's really great. So so basically, you're really passionate about student involvement.
To say the least, yes. With psychology as my undergrad, I want to go into student affairs for a master's and then eventually get a PhD in higher ed administration because I really liked being a peer mentor. So it made me change everything because college is this great place where people find themselves. You come in as a little wandering high school student and you're like, okay, what do I do? But when you graduate, you leave ready to share your gifts with the world. So there's a big transformation and a big coming out, if you will, to say, this is who I am, and college helps you do that. So I just want to help people find what I did and give them the opportunity to say, this is me, and I'm ready to share it with the world. So student affairs is what I want to go into. So, for example, at YSU, that oversees like housing, career services, student activities, pretty much all of Kilcawley Center. And I work right now for the Vice President of Student Affairs, Jack Fahey, and he's an awesome guy. And there's just so many great things that YSU is doing to try and do everything we can to make students feel more at home.
Yeah, wow. I mean, what you said about college is a place to come out of your shell, kind of. I mean, that's exactly what happened to me. I'm in my third year, and I'm a completely different person than what I was
Okay.
4 years ago, leaving high school. And the amount of change, I changed so much that it scared me that people can change that much. Like it really did, and it was a change for the better, obviously. But it really is something that college has to offer you when you sit in a classroom and someone asks you, an engaging question.
right.
and then it just brings you down a rabbit hole where you're thinking like, wow, I would have never thought of this before.
Hmm. I completely agree. It's just a whole new experience, and it forces you to step outside your comfort zone and rethink who you are at some points. Everybody knows there's stereotypes about Canfield High School, and I tried so hard in high school to not fit that stereotype because my thinking is just because there's a stereotype doesn't mean you have to fit it. And I didn't want to be, oh, just one of the spoiled rich kids who doesn't do anything and live off their parents. I didn't want that. So I tried so hard to not fit that. And I came to YSU thinking, well, everybody says this place sucks. I'm going to try so hard to make it not suck. And it doesn't. It's a great place, and I absolutely love everything about it.
What do you think we can do? I mean, and that's really inspiring because, you guys deal with a stereotype, and people make generalizations about you that wouldn't be fair if it was the other way around.
Right.
So, what do you think we could do to communicate to people that were in our position about YSU and what it has to offer?
Well, do you want, like, my opinions or.
Yes, yes, I want your opinion.
Okay, there's a lot of things that start with just talking about it. We don't realize how much word of mouth has to offer and everything that can go into it. So, like I said earlier, it starts with us. We have to be the people who are like, I love YSU, I love this, I love that. Because people just look at the negative things and focus only on that, and they don't see everything that's good about it. So I think by simply saying, I love YSU and this is why, can go so much farther than any ad campaign ever will. I mean, the ad campaigns, yes, they open up new channels to communicate with other individuals, but those individuals are going to look for people who go there and have a first-hand account before they make that big decision. So that's my opinion, and here's what YSU is trying to do. We have a new Associate Vice President of Enrollment. His name is Gary Swegan. He came from Bowling Green. He and the admissions counselors are trying to push, along with President Tressel, outside recruitment and say, this is who YSU is, and come see us. We've seen all the things for Crash Day, which was started by Tysa Eccleton, where high school seniors and juniors can come to YSU, sit in on classes, have lunch at the Tressel's house, and just get a feel for everything we have to offer, and a free t-shirt. Everybody loves that. But there's just so many things that people need to see and realize and hear about YSU that makes us great. And we've all seen the renovations that are taking place, and there's so much more yet to do, but we've come so far within only a few months, and that's a good start to everything we need to see.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, I agree with everything you just said. And one of the things I feel like is like there's this. So YSU is really a great university, and it's a great university with the mentality that it has, which is a
Yes.
poor one, or a poor perception of it, and that amazes me because what would the university be like, if it had a positive mentality and a positive outlook?
I agree. There's so much room for expansion, and I can't wait to see what President Tressel does with
Yeah,
all
yeah.
his networks.
There's so much potential. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like the potential for YSU is huge, and
right.
it's really incredible. And I also think that the city of Youngstown itself, the greater Youngstown area, and I'll include Warren in that. I think that it goes same thing goes with that. There's a lot of potential there with a poor mentality and a poor perception. So it's like, I mean, like I'm sure you've heard the stories about how great this area was,
Right.
before the close of the school.
Mhm.
So, people say that we'll never get back to that, but we are making progress, and I feel like we're doing it day by day.
I agree. I don't know how you commute to campus, but one of my options to get there is going down Mahoning Avenue. And right across the street from the entrance to the Rose Gardens of Mill Creek, and before you cross over the Mahoning Avenue Bridge, there's a little cinder block building on your left-hand side that's painted about 17 different colors, and it has in big bold letters, "You can change Youngstown."
Wow,
And
yeah, I saw that. I did see that. It's great. It's great painting. Wow, I mean, and like it's just like there's a lot of potential here, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with. Are you familiar with the Youngstown Incubator?
yes,
This is the second podcast in a row that I've talked about them. But I have some friends that work there,
okay,
and what they're doing is great. Like I really appreciate greatness,
yes,
and they're number one. They're number one in the whole world. I mean, it's
exactly.
to be number one in the whole world at anything. I mean, it could be number one at jumping on a pogo stick. That's amazing. Like that's greatness. I appreciate greatness, and I'm just glad it's here in my home. There's
Right,
greatness in my home.
right. I agree. And they just got a big grant for like I believe $1.5 million, which added with another grant equals about $3 million. So they are building their sixth, or renovating rather, their sixth campus building, and then no, number five, sorry, and then they're looking for a number six.
Wow. And people don't even know about this. Like
Right,
a lot of people don't know. A lot of people do know about it, and it's a lot of people that are affiliated with the university and the downtown scene. But
exactly.
there's a lot of people that don't even know anything about that.
hmm I don't know if it's like an ignorance that they just don't care to see, or a lack of information. I'm not sure what it is, but there's so many great things right within a few steps of Youngstown and YSU and downtown area that people just don't even care to realize.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm not sure if this was the same situation for you, but when I was in high school and everything, I just had this feeling that everybody was ready to go. Like like leave not only Youngstown but just Ohio. Like they were saying that there's nothing here and whatever.
Right.
But the more and more I think about it, if you look at our communities that build up the Youngstown area, the Youngstown Warren area,
hmm
um, people say that there's no money here, and I mean honestly, in every city, in every township, in every village, there is at least one area that is really wealthy and holds a lot of money. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously we will automatically go to the Canfields or the Polands or whatever, but I mean, I'm talking Struthers, I'm talking Gerard, I'm
Yep.
talking Salem. Uh, there's places that like really have a lot of money. I mean, it's just people don't want you to know that.
Well, I think it's also people associate money with the definition of new money, where they need to flash it in your face and say, I have money, or this is this, or I live in this huge house, or I drive a new
Yeah,
imported
yeah.
car. No, you'd be surprised how much money you don't see, but it's still there.
It's still in the economy here.
Right. And you'd be surprised how many people don't have all those flashy things, but are more well off and well to do than the people who do have them. Like,
Yeah.
people just don't realize their priorities sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. And I met with a business owner in Warren, and she told me that, and this will always stick with me. She told me that the best and the brightest, meaning the kids that go to Yale or Harvard or some other school somewhere else that is on a different level, the best and the brightest leave us, and for us who stay is left with opportunity, and that's what I feel. I mean, I feel like there's opportunity.
Right. We had, when I graduated, there was a girl who went to Yale, and I saw her this summer, and she gave off this air that she was just better than me because her education was top notch. And then she said something that I really took to heart that actually kind of hurt. She said that Youngstown wasn't giving me all the opportunities that I deserved because I was so close to home and so stuck in a mindset. And I didn't say anything because I'm not one for conflict or anything like that, but
Yeah.
she is just so wrong in everything. Just because you go somewhere like that doesn't mean that you're on this new pedestal of thinking. That's where I get a little iffy with that subject because at the end of the day, whether you or I have a college education and wherever it comes from, we're still all humans. Like,
Ah, yeah.
we're all people, we're all trying, we're all doing something, whether we work at a grocery store or we work as a CEO of a company. You're still a human being. We're all still trying. We're all still trying to meet at the end of the day. Just, I don't know, treat everybody like you want to be treated, I guess. But,
Isn't that such a simple like concept? I mean, I don't
right,
understand
but
how
it's
people
so
don't
hard.
understand. But I mean, like, I feel like with our generation, I feel like with the internet and everything, I feel like the world is becoming a more flat place. You know, I feel because it's easier now than ever for me to talk with someone in China or
Yeah.
Russia or whatever. And I just hope that we can realize that we're in this boat together as humans. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And going off what you said, yes, the world is becoming more flat in the sense that you can talk to more people, but it's also coming more flat because people don't know how to have an in-depth conversation. They just say
Wow.
one thing and it's like, well, what's next? I mean, keep talking, let's go.
Yeah, you know what? You're so right. It's I always try to do that. When I'm at the store with someone,
Hmm.
I'll just they'll just the cashier will say next, and I'll go up and say, how are you doing today? And I'm
Right?
the customer.
Exactly. You just gotta be nice to everybody and talk. You never know. At the beginning, you said something about communicating with others, and my thought about that was everybody has a story. You just have to take the time to listen to it.
Yeah, that's huge. Everyone does have their own story, and I like to, it's selfish. I'm a selfish person because I look at people's stories and I take something from it and I try to utilize it for myself. To make myself a better person. And I can learn that story from someone that's younger than me or older than me because they're
Right.
different. You know.
Exactly. I agree completely.
So let me ask you this: you're going to get your master's degree. You're going to be, Doctor Max. You're going to have a doctorate degree. So what are you? I mean, that's your next step. You're just looking towards furthering yourself with your education.
Yeah, I mean, that's the next step. It's a big step, so we'll see, but one day at a time. If I think about it too much, I just get stressed out. So,
Well, I like that approach. I think something that I've been working on this past year is, like taking care of right now. You know,
exactly.
I always think about the future. I always, say I want to do this, I want to do that. But the only thing I can do, I can't take care of yesterday, and I can't take care of tomorrow. So the only thing I can do is take care of right now. And I mean, that approach is really admirable. You know.
I laughed because I'm the same way. It took me a while to realize that I can only control today, and I can't even control that. I just gotta let it go and do the best I can. Because, but all my life I've been a worrier. So if it happened yesterday, I worry about it. If it that hasn't happened yet and I'm just anticipating it, I worry. Like I can't worry. I just have to do the best I can and take it one step at a time. And that's all I got. Like anything less than that isn't what I can give, and anything more than that I can't give. So just give it all I can and go from there.
Max, that was beautiful. I
I
mean,
know.
what you just said was great. I mean, that should be part of a freshman packet everywhere for college students. Um, Max, we have to end on that. I don't. I mean, we have to end on that note because it was beautiful, honestly.
Well, thank you.
Hey, thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
No problem.
Where can people find you at on Twitter? I know it's locked, but at least give them a chance to find it.
I'm not really a big Twitter person.
What are you big on?
I use Facebook like nobody's business.
Okay, so
So,
Facebook.
yep, you can just
So
Max Gocala.
Max Gocala, and that is Gocala.
CALA.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you very much, sir. I'm going to be in touch with you after this. I'll shoot you a text,
Okay.
and we'll be in touch. Hopefully, we can do this again in the future.
Sounds
Um,
good to me.
so I'm gonna stop the broadcast. This is going to be put on YouTube, so
Okay.
it's gonna be there for the ages. I'm going to take the audio of this
Okay.
and put it on iTunes. So you'll be
Okay.
on iTunes.
Sounds good.
Max, thank you so much, man. I'll talk to you later.
Have a good one, sir.
You too. Bye.
Thank you.